Shalom, it's No Limit Eddie back with another video. Alright, today we're talking all things money in Egypt. Now, I know everyone who already rocks with me and rocks with the channel has smashed the like button. So for everyone else, I want to ask you to smash the like button right now because it helps the channel out a ton. And I am a 22-year-old American who moved to Africa about a year ago. And on this channel, I share my experiences with the hope of making your transition from America to Africa as easy as possible. If that sounds interesting to you, then consider subscribing to the channel. You're thinking about coming to Egypt either for a long-term stay or a quick vacation, and you want to know how the money situation works. Well, you came across the perfect video because I have been living in Egypt for the past 6 months, and I'm going to share with you basically everything you need to know concerning money here in Egypt. All right, so the first thing I want to talk to you guys about is the denominations. In Egypt, the currency is called the Egyptian pound, all right? I know in the States we're used to dollars, but here it is the Egyptian pound. One little nugget I want to share with you guys, because I think it might help you guys a lot, is when I first came to Egypt, right? I knew the currency was called the pound, but I kept seeing signs that would say LE. And I'm thinking like, what the heck is an LE? What is an LE? So it'll be like 10 LE for a kilo of bananas. I'm like, what is 10 LE? So LE is how they use their reference to their currency. So how we use USD, they use LE. You would think it'll be like EGP or P or even LBS for pounds, but it's not, it's LE. So that's just something to keep in mind. Like, I was super confused when I first got here. I'm handing in the money like, is this right? You know, luckily nobody scammed me about it, and I quickly learned, okay, LE represents pounds. Now, when it comes to denominations, they have both currency notes and they also have coins. All right, so they have coins and they have bills. All right, now coins. There's two coins that I've come across in my 6 months here. One of them is a half of a pound. I usually call that a pence. And then the other one is a 1 pound coin. Now both of these coins are basically useless in the sense of monetary wise. They don't really equate to much USD wise, but they're extremely valuable because of how rarely you come across them. All right. So when you are in Egypt, especially if you plan on staying for a long period of time, when you come across these coins, you need to save them, all right? Do not treat them like you treat pennies in the States. You need to save them. I'm gonna tell you why. You'll go to a grocery store, you pay a little money, okay, they owe you some change. They don't have the coins. So what they're gonna give you? They're gonna give you, you're gonna leave with a pack of Oreos, you're gonna leave with chocolate, little nuggets and pieces of gum, stuff you don't even want. They're gonna give them to you because they don't have the coins to give you, all right? And the same thing happens in Ubers, but it's even worse in Ubers because you don't even leave with candy or anything, you just leave with disappointment. You know, oh, I don't have change. So now you got short of 3 pounds, 4 pounds, 5 pounds, you know what I mean? You don't really want that to happen to you, all right? So when you come across these coins, you need to save them. The half a pound and even the full pound coins, you know, hold them on you. So that way when you go into the Uber, you got the exact change. Or when you go to the store, you got the exact change to give them, and it just makes your life a little bit easier. When it comes to bills, they have a 1 pound bill, a 5 pound bill, a 10 pound bill, a 20 pound bill, a 50 pound bill, a 100 pound bill, and a 200 pound bill. All right, so it's not too much I can go into when it comes to those. It's just, that's what they are. All right, now when it comes to the exchange rate, right, you want to know, okay, what is 1 pound worth to me? What is 50 pound worth? That comes into play with the exchange rate. The exchange rate is basically how much Egyptian pounds can you buy with $1 US. This rate changes every single day, and it differs based off of who you are going through. So the exchange rate is important for multiple reasons. When you first come to the country, you're probably going to have only USD on you, and you're going to have to go to one of these little places that will basically take your USD and then give you Egyptian pounds back. So when you go to a place like that, you want to go to the place that sells at the highest exchange rate. Okay, the current exchange rate is usually like 15.7, you know, Egyptian pounds for $1 US, 15.6 Egyptian pounds for $1 US. It differs every day, like I said. But either way, you want to get it as close to 16 as possible. So that's the first place you're going to run into exchange rates. And if you choose to not really use cash too much while you're here, and you choose to use your credit cards and your debit cards and things like that, those also have exchange rates that you want to be able to keep in mind. You want to use a card, or you want to go to the exchange rate place that's going to give you as close to 16 pounds to $1 as possible. All right. Now, a quick way to understand how money works here in Egypt, or basically to do quick calculations, is to make it simple and understand that $1 buys you 15 Egyptian pounds. Usually it's going to buy you more than that, 15.3, 15.4, 15.6, depending on the day, depending on the time, depending on the season, and depending on who you're using. But when you're doing quick conversions inside of a store, or we're doing quick conversions, we're kind of making a deal, a negotiation, understand that 15 pounds is $1. So that makes it really easy because you can work in multiples of 10. So okay, if 1 is 15, then that means 10 is 150, right? So for every 0 you add behind a 1 in the US dollar, you add a 0 behind 15 in the Egyptian pound. So if it was $100, I would add 2 zeros behind 15, that'll be 1,500. So 1,500 Egyptian pounds is $100. So this is like really simple math that you can do to kind of make it, to kind of break things down pretty easily. Okay, credit cards. Credit cards. If you are somebody coming from the States or any other developed nation, you're probably going to have credit cards on you, and you're going to want to know, do those work in Egypt? How do those work and things like that? Yes, credit cards do work in Egypt. Egypt is a lot different. When I was in Tanzania, you need to use cash, or you got to use M-Pesa. Here, you can definitely use credit cards and debit cards and things like that, because almost every place has a machine to accept those things. But here's the main caveat. The reason why I don't use it is because I'm a resident in Egypt. I'm living here for a long period of time, and those credit cards and debit cards oftentimes have fees associated with them. So every time you swipe your debit card or credit card or things like that, you're going to be charged a foreign exchange fee. So like I said, you might be losing USD every time you do it, because your credit card company might give you 15.3 pounds for $1, but if you were to get cashed out, it may give you 15.6 pounds per dollar, right? So that's one thing. The exchange rate might actually be causing you to lose each money in each transaction, but also they're going to hit you with extra fees.
Quit throwing prices at me.
A lot of times, foreign transaction fees and different things like that, which is going to kind of add up over time. So imagine you go to 5 places and you use your card in 5 places, and they charge you $2 each time you use it. That's an extra $10 that you just wasted for no reason, when you could have just went to an ATM, pulled out cash, and then use that cash to kind of pay for things, right? But we're going to talk about ATMs in just a second. So credit cards, yes, they do work here. Visa, MasterCard is generally accepted in all places here. American Express might be a little bit difficult, but you might be able to use it here as well. It just depends. This is something important to note. This is for my people who may never have traveled before. Listen, before you start swiping your cards and things like that overseas, you need to make sure that before you leave, before you board your plane, you need to tell your credit card companies, tell your banks and everything like that, that you're going to be in whatever country you're going to be in, so that they know that, okay, it's actually going to be you who's using your card there, because you don't want to be relying on your credit cards and debit cards and things like that, and then you swipe it one time and it's locked, and you can't reactivate it, and you can't reactivate it while you are overseas sometimes, or it might be a difficult process to get it back unlocked. And so you want to make sure before you leave that you call your bank, hey, I'm going to be in Egypt from this day to that day. Can you make sure that that you put a travel notice in? Basically call your bank and put in a travel notice with your credit card companies and everything like that, so that way they know it's you and they don't lock your card on you when you're overseas. I want to talk to you guys about ATMs. ATMs are very crucial, especially if you plan on being in Egypt for an extended period of time. But before we do that, I want to talk to you guys about the most common question that I get asked all the time. Once people find out that I'm 22 and I moved to Africa a year ago and without a job, and they want to know, okay, like how did you sustain yourself for a year, without a job, being in Africa and things like that? And the answer is pretty simple, and that is I'm making money online. But when I give people that answer, they're not satisfied with it. They want to know, like, how exactly do I do that, right? And so if that's you, good news. Linked in the description, I have a course that's going to teach you the simplest way to start making money online, all right? That course is a $99 investment, and you guys can start it today, all right? Now, within this course, I'm going to give you guys basically everything you need to know A to Z about how to sell on a platform called Etsy. All right, so I suggest if you're somebody who's serious about moving to Africa, and you just need a way to make money online, I suggest you enroll inside of that course, because trust me, no matter how hard you search, you will never find a course that is equal to mine, on the fact that I created this course for people that's, like me. And therefore I actually care about the success and the outcomes of my students. Unlike many other course creators, I'm very much accessible to my students at all times and things like that, because I really want to see people get out of America, come to the continent, explore the continent, and kind of find the peace that we lack a lot of times in the States. So the link is in the description if you guys want to enroll inside of that course. Now, let's go on to talking about ATMs. Right now, see how my hand, right now, yeah, a little frustration. ATMs are my biggest enemies in Egypt, man. I was here in Egypt for maybe 3 weeks, okay? And 3 weeks into my move here to Egypt, and the ATM took my card and never gave it back to me.
And you have a number down there. The card is unauthorized between ATM temporary service no charge to be processed right now. My card is in here stuck.
What do they mean for saying?
All right, and even after that experience, because I live here for so long, I mean, I have to access cash, I have to get cash out. And like I said, that card that it took was my card that didn't have any foreign transaction fees that refunded me my money at the end of every month. So it was the best card to use. And once that got taken, you know, I wasn't going to continue to like use my other cards. That's going to charge me a fee every time I use it. So I had to continue to use ATMs because it was a cheaper option. But I mean, the ATMs here are very wicked. You know, they crash a lot. They will, you know, take your card and not give it back to you. You know, they will have instances. It's just so much going on. Like there's certain brands you can't go to and things like that. Like the ATM situation here is very, very, very wild. You know what I mean? And so while you kind of have to use ATMs, you know, I would suggest that you, number one, if you come here for a vacation, bring cash. Try to avoid ATMs as much as possible. I pretty much hate ATMs. I'm actually getting done with ATMs, right? Now, if you plan on staying here for a long period of time, my advice to you is to get cards that don't charge transaction fees, like foreign transaction fees, or that refund you foreign transaction fees. I use Charles Schwab high yield interest checkings. That's the one that got stolen from me the minute I got here in the ATM. But you know, get cards that don't charge any transaction fees and just swipe those, because at places that you're going to, at the restaurants, at the stores and everything like that, only pull out cash when it's absolutely necessary for you to pull out cash. Like if you're going to a bazaar, having cash is much more beneficial. The bazaar is a place where you go negotiate for low products and items and things like that. If you need to pay your rent in cash, you know, pull cash out for that. But I've heard also, shout out to my fellow Egyptian YouTuber, not Egyptian YouTuber, but fellow American in Egypt that is a YouTuber, Matrell on a Mission. She said that I don't actually have to go to ATMs. I can actually take my card into a bank and they can pull out cash for me, and I can get more out at a time. And it's just a little bit safer than going to the ATMs and getting your card taken or this and that. So I might actually really try that and see how that works out for me. Also, a note on ATMs, if you have a PayPal card, avoid that like the plague, man. I pulled cash out on there just the other day, and the fees that I got charged were absolutely ridiculous. So I would avoid using a PayPal card if you have one. Bank accounts. Maybe you're planning on moving here, you want to stay here for a long point in time. Listen, you want to start a bank account. My advice, well, not even my advice, my experience with starting a bank account, I tried to look into it. When my car got stolen, I said, let me see if I can get a local bank account that might make my life a little easier. Transfer money from my US account to my Egyptian account. It was almost like I was going to apply to work for the FBI. The process was very intrusive. The process was very intense to get an ATM, to get a bank account here in Egypt. So I scrapped that idea the moment I read those articles. I'm like, oh, okay, nah, forget it. So you can try to go over the bank account route. That was a little bit too intense for me. So I said, man, I'll keep it high. I'll keep it high. I'll keep it, you know what I mean, right now, using my ATM, using the credit cards and stuff like that to get cash and you pay for things. All right. Now, with that being said, I believe I answered every single question you could possibly have about moving to Egypt when it comes to money. All right. If you have any other questions, if I missed something and you have a question about it, drop it into the comment section right now, and I'll do my best to answer it if I haven't answered. Also, at the same time, if you enjoyed this video, please like it. It helps the channel out a ton. And if you happen to like me, I am single, so no, I'm kidding. If you happen to like me and my personality, subscribe to the channel, man. You watch the video all the way to here. Subscribe to the channel, man. I'm trying to get to 20K. You know, I believe that I'm producing some of the greatest content here on the continent of Africa for the African American diaspora who are looking to move to Africa. All right. So subscribe to my channel. You might be able to catch me live. I go live all the time, and I answer a lot of people's questions on those lives. So if you have questions, you're thinking about moving to Africa, and you're thinking about visiting Africa even, you know, subscribe to my channel. Try to catch me in one of my live streams. You can ask a lot of your questions right then and there. But other than that, guys, see you guys in the next one. Y'all willing. Peace.